sex is bad.
We were supposed to be ashamed as girls and as women.
They teach you how to put a condom.
I think it was never mentioned what we, like do in case of menstruation. It was reducted to family responsibility.
And actually never told my mother. I don't think she even has a clue when I went into my period.
I was actually sexually retarded for a long period in my life.
No. It was abstain and that was it.
Sex is something really forbidden. Danger.
Traditionally, when a girl, in my culture, when a girl is about to hit puberty, when it comes like to sex education, that's not something that mothers do. That's something that paternal aunties do. So they paternal aunties tell a girl who is about to get into puberty about menstruation, boys, sex education. So I remember my mother sending me to my maternal aunt to visit. But I think that was the purpose, but I don't think that my maternal aunt had the guts of telling me anything. So yeah, she never told me anything. Instead, I would just play with my cousins and that was it.
For me, obviously, my mom spoke to me personally. I also belonged to a youth group when I was young. So there, they told us about sex, but that young people should abstain because it was the church, it was religion.
Yeah.
So it sort of came with that kind of influence. But there was nothing about homosexuality, nothing. It was just your normal heterosexual relationships.
And how to have safe sex.
And how to have safe sex. Not to have safe sex, to abstain.
Abstain.
There was no use a condom, there was...
No talk of condom.
No. It was abstain and that was it.
I don't know how it was organized and centralized. Maybe, I don't know, probably the Ministry of Education would have said, okay, maybe, the high school children now, they start having sex in a high school, so maybe we should, think of providing a certain sexual education, so they would probably make a group of people who will then go from school to school and I don't know, speak with children. So, for example, instead of the class of biology or physics or blah blah blah, instead of this 45 minutes, we will have guests who will talk to us about sexual education. It was, I think, mostly based on contraception. On health, like a classical health aspect, like a contraception, sexual diseases. So basically, it was not. It was the kind of desexualized teaching about sexual education.
And after the transformation, the Catholic religion classes were brought back to school, and the abortion was banned. And of course, there is a huge discussion now about sexual education, because there is a huge part of society which says no, no, because it promotes, homosexuality, because it promotes sex with condoms, because it promotes gender, which is conceived gender term is understood as a devil,
No, but
I
you
didn't
had
experience sexual education in school.
at all?
At all. We didn't have that.
When I reached my first boarding school at the age of 6, there was already some talk among the boys. It was a boys' boarding school. And there was another girls' boarding school which was a separate school. And among the boys, because they would bathe together, because hot water would come in buckets, and we would have to strip and wait for it, there was already some talk, some touching happening. But I had reached this school already aware of what this thing was about. Because in our neighborhood, we had played games like, you remove your pants, I remove my pants. There has been a time when an older boy in our neighborhood had flashed to us and we had all looked at him. And so I knew that there was something mysterious about this which was not being talked about in society because nobody had talked to our parents about it. But being aware of it came a little later when I moved to another boarding school. This wasn't when I was 10 years old, where sex was all over the place. Sex was a tool for power in this boarding school because juniors and senior boys lived together for 7 years, and sodomy was the method of making juniors comply with the seniors' orders.
I have a very unique experience with formal sexual education in school because during those years I had education in 3 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
In the US, in former Yugoslavia, and in Croatia. Surprisingly enough, in the conservative heyday of Reagan in the mid-80s in the US, I had age 11, 12. I had a year of really great sex ed in school.
Mm.
From anatomy to kind of very healthy approach towards contraception. I mean, we were very innocent. We were told things, but we perhaps didn't understand them. I remember being, I guess, 11 and knowing that it was important to protect oneself from pregnancy and AIDS and other things by using a condom, but I had never held a condom, so I didn't really know how a condom functioned. I mean, age 11, I didn't really know how sex functioned, but yeah, I couldn't understand like how that thing stayed there. I mean, how did you put the condom there and then it wouldn't fall off?
I'm wondering if it's appropriate in Africa to teach Africans or to condition them to a sex education subject.
Mm.
I'm not sure because of during my school years we never had that. We never had a sex education, you know. The only thing you know is sex is bad. Of course, what is bad, the kids want to try.
Yeah.
Any bad thing, anything that is bad, we want to try it. We want to know why it's bad, you know. The sex education in school, I don't think it's that deep, or it's deep, or it should. I think it's not deep as it's supposed to be. You know, maybe in private schools it is, but not in government schools. In government schools, I don't think they have time for that.
When you are in the first years in this primero to cuarto de la ESO, then the first time in the high school, they came 2 times per year, I guess. This Red Crew Association to talk with childs about sexuality. But you know, it's like, oh, you will have your period and maybe you will feel attracted for a guy, but you already experiment this. Then somehow you're looking at them like. Then they teach you that it was a super thing. They teach you how to put a condom. Then I remember the guy saying, okay, this is to protect you for venereals, from SIDA. They explain you all these things. And then he take this huge dick, black dick. And then he put the condom. No? And then he said, okay, and now I need one of you to do it. And we were like, oh, it's like I thought once in my parents can't this kind of a spirit.
But of course, yeah, we also had self-education. I was watching my first porn film. I was watching when I was 11 years old, 11 or 12.
I was actually sexually retarded for a long period in my life. It was all a black box. It was all something where this is happening and I did not know how to deal with it, because I somehow never felt that what has happened to me I should do to others, which normally victims would perpetuate the cycle of violence, of sex, but I did not want to do that. So for a long term I did not know how to process all that had happened. And it is only when I started reflecting upon it, started finding intimacy, warmth, without this added power to it, that I started opening up.
And then I come to the supposedly equal society, 1987, former Yugoslavia, and then in 7th grade, I had the most conservative sex ed class, and that was just the one day. And how this one day was organized, it was incredible. So they divided the 12, 13-year-olds, boys and girls. They took all the boys away to have a day at the local military barracks to meet the soldiers. This is former Yugoslavia, so Yugoslav army, military, to meet the soldiers, climb over the things, because when they are 18, they will also become part of, the military. We had inscription in former Yugoslavia. And so what you had in school were 12, 13, 14-year-old girls, and we were spoken to by our female biology teacher, and perhaps the curriculum was much better, but this woman, she gave us really the most conservative rundown of what menstruation is, what sex is, what pregnancy is. We were supposed to be ashamed as girls and as women of all of that. It was something to be ashamed of.
So when I went into my period, I had actually just come back from school. So I came back from school like today, and at night I started my period. So I remember waking up and feeling like, what happened? Why are there sticky pins between my legs? Did I pee on bed? Like, I was absolutely confused. Then I woke up and my bed sheet was white, and it was all bloody, like it wasn't even like red, it was something, a different color. I was confused and scared, and I was home because I was on vacation. Then I quickly removed the bed sheet. We had a bathroom outside. I went to the bathroom and I washed it and hung it, and my cousin, my daughter to my mom's sister was home. She used to study from home. So I tell my cousin, and she's like, oh, okay. Then she's like, have you washed up and everything? I said, yeah, I've washed up. And then as we are talking, I feel like something warm, like coming out of me. I'm like, oh. I check myself and I've already soiled my pants. I'm like, so I tell her, what has happened? I thought,
it's over.
It's over. Oh my God, she laughed so hard. So then she explains to me, no, it's not over. In fact, now you need to have sanitary towels. You need to it might take 3 to 4 days. So she was the one who really gave me proper menstrual cycle and education. And so my cousin is the one who gave me the information, and I actually never told my mother. I don't think she even has a clue when I went into my period.
Really?
No, she doesn't.
Like when you have the menstruation, you sometimes use these pads.
Yeah, sanitary napkins.
Yes, they did not exist during the communism. And my mom would use something else. It was like the kind of a toilet paper which was called lignina. And it was white and thicker, and she would cut them into like these pieces, and they would like once a month they would appear in a bathroom, and she would change them, you know? And then when I was 5 years old, I discovered why, you know, like, and it was because my friend had an older sister, and they just told me that a woman has a menstruation.
I don't know if you were taught in school about menstrual hygiene. I think okay, we learned it as a part of biology, as a part of, you know, like this understanding body and how it functions, and like menstruation cycles, and you know, like woman's uterus, and you know, like also part of reproductive system in case of women. We had some practical subjects in primary school, but we didn't have. I think it was never mentioned what we, you know, like do in case of menstruation. I think it was reducted to family responsibility.
The day before I had my period, probably my body knows without I knowing what it was going on, because of course, but you feel that something probably is going on. Then I went to the room in front of mine where a young woman was living, and my mother was talking with her. And then I said, okay, I'm sorry, you're a woman and I need you to answer me that. My mother just continued ironing, hysteric, without being able to explain me what a period was. And it was the young girl who was living with us who said to me, this is something normal. She was a teacher. Then that was something normal, and everybody was having it, and to mean that you can have babies, and that I must not be afraid. And but the sexual is a taboo really big in my house and in my society. Like when I was 14 or 15, once I had my period and I was feeling really bad. Then I went to the kitchen, and the husband of my mother said to me, you look horrible today. With quite I said, yes, I have my period, I don't feel well. Then he closed the newspaper and he left the kitchen like a bit disgusted. Then my mother said, you must not talk about that with any man ever. He knows that we have that, doesn't he? Like, but yeah, a huge taboo. No? For example, have my period for me was some kind of, I am now, since now, I'm dirty. I was pure and now I'm dirty.
You know, there was, when we were young, there was this myth that 100 drops of blood make for 1 drop of semen, so you should not masturbate because you're wasting your blood. And my father told me, he said, it's not wrong to do it, it is okay, and if it happens, it is fine. It was one of the kindest things I had heard until then. And he bought me books in which there was a male and female genitalia, biological representations of it, and I took the books to school, to the boarding school, hoping that other students will also read it and understand that it is actually about the reproductive system. But within a day, those 2 pages of the book were the most heavily marked with pen and the edges of a compass with the holes poked into it. And I was like, is this what others are going to do to even knowledge, to even education? And when the chapters came up in our class 10th biology book, the teacher was a little forgetful, so, or when there was an additional teacher who would come in and say, okay, I'll teach you whatever you want me to teach you, everybody would point to that page 256 of the textbook and say, teach us this. So they want to make the teachers repeat the same lessons again and again and get some kind of kinky pleasure out of it. And all that seemed not to be sex education to me. It seemed like there's a mockery of something going on. And mockery was going on inside hostel rooms, inside the bathrooms of our school.
My mom, I think she freaked out when I had my very first boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because he was older than me, and I think she thought that I would have sex with him and get pregnant. But instead of telling me about contraception, she was just like super angry that I had this, like she was freaking out. And I remember one moment when I went for holidays with everybody, like all friends from my high school, and we would live in tents, and I stayed with my boyfriend in a tent. And then I didn't tell her, I think, and then I told her afterwards, and she was just so angry. Oh my God. So I felt like sex is something really forbidden, danger.
In the rural communities of South Africa, like the Zululand, they do have like this traditional sex education where they teach women the importance of being a virgin, you know, which is a diamond in the community. Like to be 25, 30 and still and be a virgin is like, wow.
With my father, I always can talk about everything. I asked him what gatillazo was, because I read it, gatillazo. I said,
What is gatillazo?
And I said, when a dick makes this, you know, it doesn't count. Yeah. This is a gatillazo. Then you are ready to have sex, but you cannot.
An erection, basically.
Yeah, and broken erection.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I read back gatillazo, and I was thinking it's something about cat, gato, gatillazo. Papa, what a gatillazo is? And he was with friends, and then he said, Mireia, this is something we will not talk about. And he made me like this. Then he came afterwards and he said, Mireia, you cannot always ask whatever you want. And if I don't want to answer you something, it's because I cannot in this moment, okay? But you feel free to ask me whatever you want. But if I don't want to ask you, don't be too rude. Yeah, I want to know that. Okay. Then he said, and I said, what a gatillazo is? And he said, well, it's when a man and a woman want to love each other and they cannot. Why they cannot? Well, Mireia, because they cannot. Sometimes you cannot. Oh, okay. You know, then with my father, but of course when you start to have questions about sex, you will never ask your father. No. I mean, no. Then when I was 15, I had a boyfriend, and my mother knew it, and she was really violent, like, you know what is a condom? Okay, I hope so. That is the education talks I had.